Hello, my name is Nicholas Santillo, and in this assignment walkthrough video, we're going to be looking at how to define and create a tracker capture program in DHIS2. Okay, so we have a tracker capture program to create, and we have some requirements that we are going to build from. Now, this is the same requirements as in the previous assignment to create an event capture program, and the reason is that we want to show how they are going to look different even though they're trying to do the same thing. So, just to reiterate, we want to track how many people we serve, disaggregated by age and sex, and then we want to have an outcome of this workshop program as measured by a financial capability survey. And for the purposes of this assignment, we're only going to use one question from that survey as opposed to an entire scale. We also would like to know the dropout rate between workshops and the overall dropout rate. And you can see here this top, it's about financial literacy workshops in Canada. So because we are creating a tracker capture program, this means that instead of creating a different program for each step along the way, we can create one program for this entire process, which has a number of stages within it. Each of these stages will deal with one of these events or workshops. So I'm going to go through these step-by-steps here for a little bit and talk about them, and then we'll go into the system. So first, we know we want a tracker. We're going to create entities, and those entities will have attributes, which is a big part of tracker capture. So we'll want to create the attributes, age, gender, and phone number. And then we'll create the entity labeled person and assign those attributes to that entity. And let's go in and see if this has been done yet. I can show you what it looks like, how to create it, etc. So we want to pop down here to Program. We're going to look at Attract Entity Attributes here, and we see we have age, email address, and gender. Perfect. How we would create those, of course, is pressing the big blue plus and enter something like age. Of course, we've already have one, so it's not going to be happy with us. And if we want to use an option set here, we can. And then, of course, we'll just save it. We want to choose, of course, whether we're summing, averaging, or counting. The value type is going to be text. We see these all the time in DHIS2. So if I click on age, we see age. It's a positive integer because you can't be negative age. And then we're going to look at the average age because that's what we want to do here. Once we have those, we go to Attract Entity. We have a student or person. And then that is our tracked entity. So let's go back to our assignment. Once we have that, we want to have some data elements, and we'll create an attendance data element and this financial literacy question. So let's make sure we have those. The data elements, I can see financial, we have a financial satisfaction. And I should have already, yes, assigned a 7-point satisfaction scale to it. So we're good with that one. And the other one was attendance. And I believe we do have an attendance as well. And the value is yes, no, it's built into the system there. Lovely. So now how do we collect our data? Now, if we were to do this in situ, we'd of course want the teacher to fill out one attendance sheet per workshop. And you can do that in DHIS2, but it requires a tabular tracker capture app, which we're not going to be looking at specifically in this video. But it is that last step that would require it. So it would just allow that teacher to enter in data from multiple entities within a single screen. It just saves some time. And of course, we want to decide how to define program stages. So we're going to have a student registration. Now that's the registration of any program. And then we're going to have the pre-financial capability survey as a stage. Then we'll have workshop 1, 2, 3 as 3 different stages. And then the post-financial survey as the final stage in this program. And that's so that we can compare pre and post. So in the end, we have the registration plus 5 stages. And let's look at how that actually gets built. So I'm going to go into programs here and attributes. And I should be able to just create a new program, add new up here. And it's going to be financial capability program. and I'll just copy paste the name, and we are keeping it with registration here. So the entity we want is the person, and we'll use drop-down list for now and keep a lot of this just as average. I'm going to keep going down here, and we get to choose the attributes that we want for this entity. And if we remember correctly, I believe we wanted phone number, we wanted gender, and age, why not name, and just double check here what we wanted: age, gender, phone number. So that is correct, but we hadn't asked for name, and I'm just going to throw that in for the sake of it. So we want to display this in the list, and we want whether or not we want the mandatory. I'm going to leave this clear just for testing purposes, and I should be able to click add. There we go. And this is our financial capability program. Now I'm left clicking on it, and we can see that I can assign the program to org units. This is important when we actually want to enter data. I'm just going to select the top level here for now, just for testing purposes. And also we have our view program stages, and this is where we're going to start to go a little bit different from the event. We've already had, of course, the registration. Now, in the event tracker or the event capture, you're going to have one stage pre-built, and that's the only one you're going to be able to use. But in a tracker capture, we can create as many as we want here. So I'm going to create our first one, which is going to be the pre-financial survey. Oh, there we go. And this will not be repeatable. I'm going to skip down. Open data entry form after enrollment. Yeah. So we'll say that's fine. And which ones do we want to use? We want to use the financial satisfaction. So we'll select that there. We'll say it's compulsory. And of course, we want to display it in reports because that means we'll be looking at the data here. Some data you want to collect, but you may not want to report on it. So you wouldn't select that. But of course, anything you do want to find a report on, you want to make sure you select it here. We're going to add that. Well, of course, we need to select our report date to use. And we have our first stage. Now, if I go back to which stages we want to create here, we have the pre-survey, then we have workshop 1, 2, 3, and those workshops are attendance. So we're going to add a new one, workshop 1, go down here, and we want attendance. There we go. And it's going to be compulsory and displayed in reports again. And of course, we want to see that should be good to go. There we go. We have our workshop 1. And we're going to continue that all the way down through workshop 2. We also want attendance. Now, it's the same data element, but because it's in a different stage, the system is going to be tracking it differently. So I don't have to worry about creating a new data element for each stage. Workshop 3, attendance, compulsory and display in reports, and add. Now we have our 3 pre, and of course we need our post. So it's our last one, post financial survey. And we come down, we go to financial satisfaction and compulsory. There we go. So now we have our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stages within the single program. And that will be the end of the creation. Once we assign it to a user, you can see here I'm just scrolling down. We have that organization unit, which we already did a little earlier, and then the final thing is to assign it to user roles. And how that would look is we want to go into our users, find the user role that we're working with. In this case, I'm admin, and just want to make sure that this financial capability program that we just created is over there. And of course, this is admin, so we want to give the admin everything anyways. Okay, and that's how you create a tracker capture program. Thanks so much for watching. You can access our curriculum at the link you see there, or email us at info@logicaloutcomes.net.